so it's 6:30, so it'll be open for 30 minutes. Can we all rise and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, our first up will be our presentation from Spark. Would you like to introduce Mr. McGowan?
Sure. So this evening we have two teachers, Kate McKinney and Catherine Ash, and two students. And I'll let them introduce the students. They're going to talk about Spark, the literary magazine.
Perfect.
Where shall we go?
Come on down.
And then just tell me when to click, and I click.
I will. Okay. Thank you.
See, the one time you can tell me what to do.
I guess. Special, isn't it?
Wasn't that nice? Just bask in it right now.
All right. My name is Catherine Ash. I'm an English teacher at Winnacunnet. Ms. McKinney and I are both the advisors of the Spark Literary Magazine, and we're just here to kind of celebrate what we do and tell you about all the amazing things that our students do.
Awesome.
Okay, so first and foremost, we just want to let you know who we are and what we do. On the surface, we are a literary magazine. So we create a publication once a year that publishes student work, arts and literary works that they submit. But I think that there's a lot more to us than just that. We are a club and a community of students and teachers who work really hard to, number one, choose, critique, vote on really wonderful work that comes from students in our community. Two, we organize, we promote, and we design at the end of the day and distribute some really wonderful work. And there are students who come and go, but we do have a core group of us who've been really dedicated to this year. I'm new this year, so this is my very first year seeing it all in action. Mrs. McKinney, I think, could talk a little bit more to the history of the group, but I think what's most important is that it's been around for 35 years and it's continuing to go strong. It has a newish name. We used to be, what was it again? Guided by Voices? Are you going to talk about that? Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there. A gathering of voices, but it is now called Spark, and it's meant to spark people's imagination, creativity, both by sparking their interest in the work and also with the hopes that they will want to submit and share their work with a wider audience. So this, we believe, fits perfectly with so many of the elements of Portrait of a Learner. First, academics, students who are a part of the club are obviously interested in this particular field and are using their particular abilities to strengthen what we do. And obviously, we're also celebrating the academics of our students who are creating and writing. Mindsets, we all have to have very strong, motivated mindsets to, number one, create the work, but number two, to publish it, right, and create a publication that we can distribute to everyone and share. Essential life skills, there are a whole list of titles that the students take on as members of our club. So we've got the editor-in-chief, the managing editor, social media, technology directors. So they're all using their real-world experiences, real-world skills to have an experience that creates a final product, right? And that's something you need in any workplace, and really the teamwork that you need anywhere outside of high school. And then community engagement, I think this is probably the most obvious one in that we are, sending the work of our community to the kind of bigger community, right? Beyond not only just the classrooms where students write and create, but also into, the hallways and outside of the school even. So sending that work out where other people can see it. Our mission statement. So this was crafted by one of our members. He's an excellent writer, which is perfect for this club. And we talked a little bit about how we wanted to make sure that when we publish work, when we accept work to publish from someone who submitted it, that it's based mostly on their skill, mostly on the message that they're trying to send, not necessarily if we agree or disagree with the message, but more about how that message is displayed and crafted and delivered. So this is what it says. When voting on whether or not to accept a given piece, we do so on a holistic basis. Things such as consistency, theme, and philosophy are all important to consider when judging the quality of a piece, as well as technical skill. We also do not discriminate which pieces we do and do not accept on the basis of ideology alone. It is our belief that when considering a piece that the execution of the artist's ideology is far more significant to quality than to the ideology itself. Long story short, we want to hear all sorts of different voices, and we want to give equal weight to those voices, equal opportunity to those voices to be heard in our publication. So we are, I think, choosy based on technique, but we are also very open-minded when it comes to the kinds of things people have to say in their art and in their literature. I believe you will get. Okay.
Hello everyone, I am Camden David. I am a junior here at Winnacunnet, and I am the editor-in-chief of Spark Literary Magazine. This is my first year doing so, although I have been on the leadership board of the magazine last year as the social media director and the public relations director. We started off with a very small staff last year, but that has grown quite large this year. It has over doubled, so we have a lot of roles that we have been able to fill that in previous times we've had to double up on. So there's a lot of people that are included in this. We have myself as the editor-in-chief. I have a co-editor-in-chief. We have our managing director who processes all of the emails and sends out acceptance and rejection letters. Really keeps everything organized for us. My co-editor-in-chief also helps take down notes of the meetings. I lead the meetings. I lead conversations. We have our public relations director that helps organize events, helps with promotional material that is physical. Our social media director does the social media aspect of that. And we have our technology director that helps run our website and all the technical aspects of the magazine. And even those who do not have a specified role are useful in helping look over and give their opinions on pieces that are brought to our attention, as well as all of us help with the layout of the magazine when we do hunker down in that last trimester of the school year to create the finalized magazine. This is Kira, who is our social media director this year.
Can I ask a question? How many are in the club right now?
Everybody's listed.
Yes, everyone is listed right now, so if you could go back.
So 10 regulars.
Oh, the bottom, there we go, okay, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
We just actually got a new one last week, so
Oh, good.
Julie's new to us.
All right, great, thank you.
A freshman. Yeah.
Thanks. Oh, she's a freshman too?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Seminar class, and she did her project discovery on poetry writing. So I told her that I was in literary.
Oh, can you come to the
magazine.
microphone just so people at home can hear what you have to share?
So Julie was in my freshman seminar class, and so she did her project discovery on poetry writing, and she wrote something like 30 poems. She wrote a lot of poetry, and so I thought that it would be a good idea to invite her to join the literary magazine as I was part of it, and so she ended up coming, and I think she's been enjoying it so far.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
It'd be nice if she stakes the whole 4 years, that'd be
Yes.
awesome, right? I like that.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, our previous co-editor, hi, I'm Keith McKinney, an English teacher. Our previous editor-in-chief actually stayed with us for 4 years. It was Monique Barril, and she was tremendous. She started just as a reader and a layout designer, and then with years, she picked up more and more responsibilities. And we really would not have, later when I talk about our edition during the COVID closure, we would not have been able to do that without Miss Harris, who was a previous advisor, and I will mention briefly a few people you might recognize, and without Monique, because that was like there were 3 of us, I think, and we pulled it together at the last minute, despite the closures from home. So that was quite a fit. So current advisors, it's us, but I just wanted to show you the long history. A lot of teachers have been involved throughout the years as well. It started in 1986. As far as we could determine, I went to the archives in our library, which I didn't even know existed. There are awesome archival boxes that I had to dig through. And I've heard before of Patricia Tarbox and Richard Levitt. I got a pleasure to work with Richard Levitt a couple of years, 2003, 2004 maybe, when I started at Winnacunnet. And I did not know Deborah Kim. I did get to work with Stu Cameron for a year or two before he retired. If you remember him, he's an amazing poet. He read poetry over the intercom in the morning to start every day. He wrote that poetry about students in school. So that was an awesome thing that I don't know if we are going to take that on, but that was quite something. And then Laura, who used to be Sikirker, but now she's Elliot. She's been in the magazine, Julie Linehan or Julie Lord. She's been working with me in the past, and I took a little break. Lisa Harris worked with Jessica Thompson, and then Lisa Harris was by herself, and then I came back, and now we picked up Catherine. So it's like there is a tight group of people, and it fluctuates a little bit, but we've been really lucky to have all these people helping magazine exist. Click. And the immediate community we serve, it seems like a small little magazine and just a small group of people publishing it, but it's actually not true. I went through the submissions last year and I counted them, and we had 65 people from the school. That's quite a big percentage, I think, that submitted to us. And some of those people, the number is not really representative because some of those people submitted 3 or 4 or 5 times. So the number of submissions we read is huge. The number of authors whose work we were able to publish last year, and it is in the last year's magazine, again, not including the duplicated. A couple of people were accepted a couple of times for different artwork, but it was 37 authors and artists together. And so far this year, we already have 41 submissions, and yet we just put up the posters asking for submissions.
That's awesome.
So it's really tremendous. We're reaching a lot of the kids, and not a lot of people know about us somehow. But we're out there, and we're doing our work, and we're connecting with people all the time. Is that me? Next one? Nope.
So, as you already would know, we do put out annual publications, but we also do a lot more for our community outreach. Last year we had set up a distribution party where members of community, submitters, and people who worked on the magazine could get together and just celebrate the finished product that we had spent so long creating, which we had recently just started back up in May of this year. It has been a discontinued tradition, but we have thankfully brought it back. We have started up our own Instagram account for our ventures into social media, which Kira thankfully runs, and I had started it in 2022. We have our own website, which our technology director is head of, and we are very close to getting it at the top of the search bar. I just have to ask Mr. Saltmarsh to archive the old one that no longer gets updated. We have been featured on Winnacunnet High School television in a little segment that was going over our recent poetry reading that we held in November, and then the poetry reading itself, which we held in November of this year.
So this is the magazine. This is what we were like in 1986. In 1986, we had hand-drawn, and I believe it was a copy center publication where Sandy Berry, I believe was her name, at least when I got to the school. She and Leah, they were copying these for us manually, and sometimes they were spiral bound, sometimes they were stapled. So we'll progress from that, Mr. McGowan. But these are the awesome covers. When Ms. Harris came on board, the magazine became much more professional looking because Lisa Harris knows a thing or two with yearbook and other publications. So we also were renamed to Totem, and that was in 2007, and we existed as Totem for 13 years. And as you can see, 2019 and 2020 were beautiful covers that we were able to do despite the pandemic, and we were able to, 2020, and we were able to put out and give to all the students. We actually send them home. And this is us, 2021. We decided that maybe Totem is not an extremely sensitive title. So our editor-in-chief put out a survey. We asked students what they should have what they thought we should name ourselves, and Spark was born. But it's the same magazine. It's the same tradition. It's just a different name. And now we're published by Justin, and we look beautiful. Our magazine is just absolutely beautiful. Glossy, colorful, and informative. And click. Oh yeah, and I found this online, so I thought, why not? We do have people that we release into the world here that have been part of our magazine. Catherine Rosa was in the magazine when I was an advisor, and recently I came across this website. Apparently she's continuing the tradition at Plymouth. and she is one of the entertainment and arts editors there at their magazine called The Clock. So there we go.
That's
So
awesome.
we are affecting the world. We continue to affect the world without knowing about it always.
So since we have started our community outreach events so early, I suppose, we've only had 2 events so far, which is our distribution party, which was hosted by Monique and myself, and then we had our Sparks Fly event, which was hosted in November of this year, which was headed by myself, the technology director, and organized by our PR director. And we set up those events to create community interest and to celebrate the courage and creativity of the people who have submitted to us, and as well celebrate those physical and literary arts.
This is not part of the presentation.
So to go in more depth about one of our events, we had our Sparks Fly poetry reading, which a lot of our staff had attended, and so has a bunch of other teachers and students, such as Mr. Yaton, Mr. Connolly, Miss Mullen, and a bunch of other students that are not affiliated with the magazine directly, but are thinking about submitting or have submitted. And what happened there was it was an hour-long after-school event that was held in our library, where people brought food. It was kind of a potluck, and we just took turns sharing poetry from lesser known or more well-known authors, or some that we have just shared ourselves, or some that we have written ourselves and we just haven't had the courage to submit, or have just decided to keep it to ourselves until now. And there are some photos from the event. We had some outside people, including some parents and grandparents attending, and it was overall a very wonderful experience to be a part of and to have had a hand in organizing.
And this is also us restarting a tradition that Stu Cameron started, and I found this article online. I was surprised it still existed from 2002. He used to have, I think it's monthly, once a month Winnacunnet students used to meet up at GB's, eat bagels, drink coffee, and read poetry. We're not there quite yet, but we're hoping to restart the tradition, and we're hoping to have at least one more poetry reading this year, maybe in the spring, and then we'll kind of roll from there. And again, don't know that we'll ever get to Mr. Cameron's standards because it's a lot of work, but we're hoping to get there. So that's just a little.
And now for our endeavors in social media, as you already know, I have started the Instagram account in October 2022. I was the original manager to that, but since I have passed the reins on to Kira, she has been doing remarkable work in setting up promotions for us and headlining events and keeping the community in the know without having to read a weekly newsletter in some email somewhere. And we've been able to connect to a lot of outside people. We have connected to members in the community, parents of students, or just people who enjoy the literary arts. We've connected to local libraries, including the one right down the street, wherever that may be, and right over there.
Good job.
And in other towns nearby, we've connected to other high schools, and we've even made a connection with a different literary magazine that was in Northampton, I believe. So we've been very successful in that regard of having to reach out to a community and make a difference in the world. And then here's the Reach TV segment I was talking about earlier. It was just something to let the wider school audience know that this is an event that happened, and we are looking to make another one sometime in the year. And it would be lovely if anyone could attend. And it was really just our moment in the spotlight, and something that is very contested on what can be in there or not.
Please keep us posted on the date, because we will definitely be there. For
Thank you so
sure.
much.
And
Absolutely.
if you could give us the Instagram, the town.
All right, I will do that when.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk about this at some point? Here's our website. It's very neat and organized. It has headings at the top where you can submit. There's records of our past copies that we've been able to get on file that have been put onto. I'm not sure how it works exactly. That is before my time. But when you were able to put something that was physical onto a computer. So we have some of those, and we have all of our different archives from different titles, and we have our staff list, our mission statement, and really everything we're about. So if anyone wants information on that, then you can check, then people can look at that, but it would be the second link down because I still need to talk to Coach Saltmarsh about that.
We need to talk to him then.
Yes.
Yeah. Camden, I have a question for you. So, maybe you'll tell us further down. Do you get any of these magazines out into the, like, local stores and things like that?
Or hotels.
Yeah, like,
where we have lots of tourists come to stay in the summer.
yeah. Or, like, coffee shops, Blue Harbor, like, those, and, like, have them out. Do we have those, or, oh, here we go. We're gonna ask.
That
her.
is-
We publish
Okay.
200 annually. Justin publishes them for us for free as part of the yearbook. So
Mhm.
we'd have to discuss. Yeah, it might
Cost.
cost us something to,
Mhm.
be able to do that.
We can look for donations, I'll talk to the chamber.
Yep, I was just gonna say, we can get you the money. I have no doubt in my mind, so, yeah. That would be awesome, just to have it out, I think, you know, the local libraries would have them in every
Or
town.
chamber members.
The chamber members, you know, getting them out, they would love that, so that would be a great idea.
How much, to do something like that, just to get an idea, if we wanted to have a few of these publications in a few of the hotels or to the chamber, I think maybe if that is something we wanted to help work with, if we just knew, like, how much extra would make, if you publish 200, how much more would,
1,000 need, you know?
I mean, 1,000, but how much more do you think ideally you would need, like another 200 or?
I would have to check in with Miss Harris.
Okay.
Okay,
Because, yeah,
Because I think that's part of the contract that we have for the yearbook to publish this also.
publish this with it.
Yeah.
so,
All
yeah.
together, yeah,
Rated right now, so it'd be an add-on cost.
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
Price it out.
that'd be awesome to
Good
find out.
question.
let's
Yeah.
do that.
Absolutely. Oh, did we just? Went ahead and fixed
Okay,
it.
and I did touch on a little bit of this at the beginning, but some of our goals, one, to increase awareness of our publication. So we've been in business for 35 years, but as Ms. McKinney noted before, not everybody knows about us. I think that maybe it's because we only come out once a year, maybe it's because we're a small club. We try our best as English teachers to at least spread it amongst the English teaching department to get the word out for us, and among the art teaching department, but sometimes it's just hard to get the word out. So we want to increase awareness. That's part of why we're here tonight. To increase our readership, I think that would go hand in hand. And also to revive the traditions and increase the number of annual poetry readings that we have. So the one that we just did was very successful. We really enjoyed it. I think it could be even more successful with more promotion. So, and if we were able to do it somewhere beyond the school, like at KB's, I think that there might be more student buy-in. Not that they don't love school, but I think they love KB's. I think KB's is the place to be. So, so I think that would be really fun. And we also hope, as we move forward, this is part of what our mission statement is about, is to reach out to a more diverse part of the student population, to include more voices. You know, we obviously have those who are writing and submitting because they feel strongly about what they do in English class, right? But I think that there are many other students who feel that they are creative but nervous about putting themselves out there. And I think that, you know, the more voices we can hear, the more of an understanding of what our community looks like will be present in our magazine. And then we have talked a little bit about the idea of bigger kind of annual themes that go beyond. This is big thinking right now, but it's really Lisa's idea. Lisa Harris came up with this the other day. Well, I think it's something she's thought of for a while, but to have some sort of theme that's kind of an overarching idea that guides the school, might guide some of the curriculum, might guide some of the things that the clubs decide to participate in. So do we have an example that we can give? Do you remember one that we spoke about?
Eden Otterson came up with a few ideas.
Yeah.
I don't remember it now, but we'd have to talk to Mr. McGowan first.
Yes, of course, of course.
He hears us.
Of course, yes. But we just thought, I mean, what she said was worth sharing because it's just a really cool idea to tie not only what we do into what other people do, but what they're doing too, and just kind of have a just an annual, you know, a theme, a big idea that we're all, you know, kind of committing ourselves to as teachers, as students, as creators. So that's just a handful of what we hope to do.
I like that. Those are great goals.
Thank you.
And that's just our poster created by Kiera. So we just put those up. We're expecting more submissions beyond 41.
Oh, absolutely, because you said you just put it up, so.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to pass out the magazines to school board members?
Yeah.
And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you
I know
very
the
much
QR
for your
code.
time. We
The
really
QR
appreciate
code
it.
is great, I love that, it's like,
Yes.
I don't like it in restaurants, but I like it on there.
Thank you.
Dinosaur in the middle.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
So can we reach the Instagram account and through the website? The school paper, or?
If you want, you can send it to me and I can send it to them.
That'd be great. Yes, we can do that.
Oh, the Instagram?
Yes.
Oh.
Thank
This
you.
is unbelievable.
I have a question.
I have one.
I'm curious,
I get one
do you
every year.
Camden or,
Send it.
oh, yeah.
Do
Do you ever have an opportunity, like to attend workshops where people
Just
will
drop
maybe
off a few
workshop
to
a
leave.
theme or workshop some ideas?
Oh, here it is.
Because I find,
Is it
you know, creatives beget creative, right?
Ones that
And
would
I don't know if
this
UNH
type of,
sponsors
you know,
those sorts of
clients
things,
or
or other high
this
schools
it?
might have something where you
Check
would
it, see if that's it.
collaborate. And I'm just,
That is?
I'm curious
Okay.
if you
This
have
is
an
so
opportunity
impressive.
like that. Because I think
I'm already
having
following it.
events and publishing is good, but if you create more
Good job, I don't
community,
feel so bad.
it's also a way to, you know, help launch. I don't know, I don't know if there's an ELO in poetry writing, or, you know, there's publishers you can work with, something to sort of take it to, sort of that next level for yourselves, really.
A lot of things
that's it up
died
there.
away during COVID, and they're coming back a little
Well, they're
bit.
coming back.
With
So Lisa
underscore
Harris
mag.
used to take students, when I was taking a break from the literary magazine, she used to take students to a workshop.
Oh,
And there
great.
were classes for Winner Chronicle students to attend for newspaper. There were yearbook classes where the kids could go into workshops and work on yearbook, and there were some for literary magazines. But we have not done that in the past few years, so that probably is another thing we should put on our agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looking
just,
into that.
you know, grow your own world sort of thing, yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
very good idea,
yeah.
and maybe we could hook up with UNH. UNH
Oh,
has a,
yeah.
Barnes something rather, they have a literary magazine.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So that would be
yeah.
kinda cool to do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you very much for the presentation. You were
Thank you.
amazing, so appreciate it. We were fast, yeah. Thank you very much.
And good luck this year.
This is, I'm like blown away.
Yeah, that's great.
Page 1, you can see Luke Parrish's.
Come a long way from stapling.
Right?
I think my art teacher did that on my behalf. But yeah, that's me.
Page 1.
Even if we
Isn't
could just
that-
have one
Yeah,
of
that's
these
fine.
in a coffee shop that kind of
I
stays
know,
there.
that's it, exactly.
Mrs.
Also-
Blair.
Well, then I'm,
They're
of course,
Steal
then
them,
I
that
sit there
means
with
they
like,
like read.
well,
You're
they,
very
right.
You're in a
circulating
hotel,
amongst
staying for a little while,
Exactly,
a
or in the
rainy day,
lobby of a
something to read.
hotel.
Impressive.
Well, and it's just, you know, like, and then I get to the point where it's like, oh, then we could do like the box set. Here's the last 5 years. You know what I mean? It's like,
That's for a
there's just
bigger donation.
But do you know what I'm saying? There's because the quality is so good, first off, but the content will blow you away when you actually start reading them. So that's awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you for that. Next one is our Winnacunnet Pride.
Alright, so we've obviously started to try 2, which is been a long stretch of 2 weeks. So student council, as we filled you in last meeting, we were gonna hold our 12 days of giving, so we went through with it. And it actually was very, very successful. We collected over 800 items. So we had over 100 stuffed animals, and over 200 like infant-related items, and someone donated a robot. And, the fire departments picked up all the items on Monday. It ended last Friday, and then we really enjoyed working with the sending schools and the fire departments, and we were really happy with the outcome of everything. And then on Friday, student council is going to host a teacher appreciation event for teachers before the holidays. And then our National Honor Society, their coat drive ended right around finals, and they got a lot of coats, and they're really happy with their results, from what I understand. And then right now, the Animal Action Club is hosting an animal supply drive up until the end of January. And the Sustainability Club yesterday held a sustainable gift wrapping event. And then we saw the start of the Italian Club. They held their first meeting since last meeting. And the chess club had a tournament in Dover where one of their members won in their division. And then the holiday concert was last Thursday on the 14th, and the faculty show is this Friday. We winter sports started. Just list everything, but yeah.
Phew, got it all in. I love it. All right, thank you, Luke.
How many total gifts were collected for the toy drive?
It was, I think, 806.
That's
yeah,
great.
Very, very well.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is. There'll be a lot of happy kids.
I think there's a press release going out about that soon as well.
Oh, good. We have the minutes from November 15th. If there's no corrections, could I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from Wednesday, November 15th, 2023.
Second? Great. Nicole for second. All those in favor? Abstaining? Yep. Thank you. Superintendent's report?
Yes, so my first report is that the rest of my team is not here tonight, and their reports are all included in there for you, but if you have any questions about any of the rest of their reports, please let me know, and I'll be happy to either answer them or get them to send you a reply, depending on whether or not I know the answer. So all of our SAU districts have adopted their budgets at this point for FY25, so we'll have public hearings in January for each of the districts within the SAU, and Winnacunnet is on our agenda. I want to say January 10th. I have to flip back. January 10th. There we go. I know. Seco School of Technology will be hosting open houses very shortly to showcase their available programs, and Trisha was there and could speak about this as well, but we had a student at our last meeting who talked about her experiences with welding. And as a part of the welding program, she prefers MIG welding, but she plans to join the workforce after graduation and is currently pursuing some internships in her field. She's a very articulate young woman, very smart, and I think described herself as someone who didn't see herself as smart. Because some of the traditional courses in school weren't always a great fit for her. But listening to her speak about, what she does and her passion for that, we were able to reinforce for her that she's clearly a very intelligent young woman with
amazing,
a lot to offer the world. So
very well spoken, and you could just see how much she really loved.
Absolutely.
Her coursework, and it's.
Yeah, so if students
great
haven't
to
had
see.
the opportunity to visit, I encourage them to take advantage of those opportunities. If families have questions, they can certainly reach out to SST. They're happy to give individual tours and answer questions about the application process for people who have them, and I know our guidance office will also offer support for that.
And January 10th, we're sending our students
Sorry,
out, the
is it?
sophomore students are going over January 10th.
Great.
But if you're a junior and you're not on that trip and you're thinking about, wow, wouldn't it be great to take a program as a senior?
We'll
Talk
get
to the
them over
guidance office, they'll put you on the bus. You heard it here.
There we go.
Policy committee will be meeting in January, so just a little reminder that policies are coming up. These are mostly the ones from the fall update, which relate to the last legislative session. And hot off the presses, because coming up sometime in January is the legislative roundtable, but there are roughly 300 bills right now that pertain to education. I know there's a little mention of this later on our agenda, but the School Board Association recently hosted a webinar, so if you didn't see that, it is archived on their website, and the list of all the bills and the text that's currently available for those is you can find it there. And they also provided some tips for legislative advocacy if you as a board or you as individuals are interested in speaking or passing along how you feel about particular bills. So happy to share any of that. And vacation starts Friday and continues until early January. January 2nd, we'll be back in school.
Perfect. Thank you. Principal's report.
Okay, so I recently submitted for a small grant application to the New Hampshire Council on Development Disabilities. They have received it, and we should be hearing back from them soon. So, I mean, it's a little bit, but any amount helps, so we'll see what happens. The other good news is that the Hampton
Ms.
Chamber.
McGowan, did you want to mention that was for trail, or, sorry, not trail, but accessibility? You just didn't mention what it was for.
Oh,
So you submitted for a grant.
Vacation
Yeah.
starts
This is-
Friday.
I like that we didn't question it, we're just like, great, we'll take it.
I'm on vacation. Yeah, that was tough doing, clicking. I mean,
I
it's-
know, you've already
Um,
worn out tonight, so.
So it's the pathway update, that we're looking to put a path around the entire campus, and it will also involve a switchback to safely get us down to the football field. It's the accessibility path around the fields.
Great, thank you.
Faith in the future. Maybe it's not me, but it's faith. The Hampton Chamber of Commerce, they selected the Winnacunnet ELO program to receive the annual Faith in the Future Award. That will be presented to us at the Chamber's annual awards dinner, which is on Thursday, January 25th at the Blue Ocean event. We do have 4 seats, but I'm looking to have several more people attend with us, so it should be a fun evening. The Wisdom Warriors had their second iteration. If you remember last year, several students went down and spoke to the residents at Cornerstone about their lives. And we did that again this year. So they had a ceremony on Tuesday, December 12th. And I'm not sure if those links came through, but it's amazing to hear what the adults spoke about, how much it meant to them to have the students work with them. So overall, everybody had a great time. And we'll continue that as we move on. Donations, we've received several donations. Some I can talk about here, some you need to vote on a little bit later. But we received, last month for our Thanksgiving basket donations. I think we distributed over 70 Thanksgiving baskets. But that would not have been possible without donations from the staff and the community. The recent ones are Madeline Mullen, who's an English teacher here, donated $100 to support the students in need. Kim Bryant donated $200 in gift cards. Annette Frost Jandrin, also another teacher here, and along with Diane's Desserts, donated 60 chocolate cakes. And then the American Legion Post 35 donated 8 Thanksgiving baskets, about approximate value of $500. In addition to that, we do have several students that it's difficult for the holidays, so we do have several community members that have donated to students that in need during the holidays. Kit Reno from the Hampton Community Coalition donated $310 in gift cards. Joanne Hansen, Miracle Farm Speech Therapy, donated $450 in gift cards. Those will be a little bit later on. And then through the Hannaford Help Schools program, the last couple of months, we received $261 through that program. So thank you for everybody.
Thank you for everyone for those donations.
Enrollments are pretty steady. Not much change from last month. And then, when we come back from January, again, we've got the early release on Friday and the faculty show, school vacation. Saturday, the week we come back on January 6th, we have the talent show by the music department. Wednesday, as I mentioned, January 10th, the SST sneak peek. No school on Martin Luther King Civil Rights Day on Monday, January 15th. Trimester 2 parent conferences. We just started trimester 2, but the parent conferences are Thursday, January 18th. And then on Tuesday, January 23rd, we'll have no school because we'll have the presidential primary election here.
Great.
I didn't want to go into February, sorry.
No, thanks, yeah, let's not push it. Thank you so much. Public comment is now closed at 7:08. We should have done that a little while ago, so, seeing no one here. Next would be the continuing business, education-related legislature and State Board of Education regulations.
So I just mentioned all the upcoming legislation. We are working with our legislators to find a date in January for our next legislative roundtable. State Board of Education meets the second Thursday of every month, and I know this month the agenda was only posted, I think, a couple days before on the Tuesday, but certainly something to kind of keep an eye on if you're interested. They do adopt a lot of they do adopt all of the regulations that pertain to public education in New Hampshire, and there are a number of large items that have been on those agendas over the last few months and will be upcoming. So you can look directly on their site for information on that.
All right. Tamara, do you have anything else to add?
You know, I actually went through the proposed bills, and just because that's what I do. That's what I enjoy doing.
Thank you.
And there's a lot coming up this session. There's a lot of things I think we might want to just be cognizant of. There's a lot on adequacy, and there's lots of new thinking around how different formulas. Some involve foundations, some involve pulling monies from the trust fund and putting it toward building aid. I mean, they're talking like figures around $70 million for these things. I mean, there's really potential for seismic shift, whether it's good or not good. We might want to think about looking into it, talking to our legislators about it, see how they feel about it. I have found that when I do any sort of search on the GenCourt website, I type in the names of legislators that I know are sort of key to some of these things, like the chairman of the Education Committee. If you type in his name, you'll see kind of what bills he's shepherding, and those tend to come from the Department of Education. So I would just encourage any of you, if you're looking at that, to kind of use that focus, because it can be overwhelming. There's a lot of talk around freedom accounts, hence they used to be known as vouchers. They still kind of are. And there's a lot of push to expand them. There's a lot of push to regulate them. And I think, for now they're here to stay, but there's talk about how to sort of get a handle on making sure that we have qualified people in some of the positions in the Commissioner's office itself. And they're talking about expanding the state school board. There's all sorts of focus now on possibly consolidating the community college system, which could have an impact on high school. So anyway, it seems like they're really sort of taking a global look at education in New Hampshire, and big changes could be coming. So just beware.
Thank you.
Can I just make one more related but not related note? There were two lawsuits that had been filed regarding public education in New Hampshire. One was the adequacy funding lawsuit filed by the Conval School District initially, and other districts joined. And the second was the swept tax, which is how local funding for education is distributed to communities around the state. And both of those lawsuits were found in favor of the districts, and really we know that as of yesterday, I think the state announced that it would be appealing the adequacy funding decision, so there won't be any change in that funding unless there are some other legislative changes that are determined. There won't be any immediate changes for any of those. I expect the other suit will likely be appealed as well. But I just want to mention those. They are big decisions with respect to public education in New Hampshire and the funding structures. And we are working, or I am working with Lois and SAU 90 to see if we can get the New Hampshire Funding Fairness group, a nonpartisan group that is well educated about these lawsuits and has spent a lot of time gathering information about funding for education in New Hampshire to do a presentation within our communities, probably in February.
That would be great.
So we'll let you know when we have a date.
Yeah, there's pending legislation to raise the adequacy rate from 4 to 10 to even $27,000 per student in special education. I mean, it's really all over the map right now, and I think there's room, to grow with that. And as far as the swept issue is really big here on the Seacoast, and it's a tough nut to crack. For a lot of these local communities, they're talking about, there's a bill that's been submitted that would actually require any leftover trust funds to go into the general fund as opposed to coming back to communities. So, we have to really be on top of that because
Right.
we're gonna be the voices that will need to be there going forward.
Perfect. Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
sure.
that.
Thank you, Tamara.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's just my reading.
I love that you got through it.
Yep. Our new business, SST Regional 4-Year Agreement.
Yes, so we signed a few years ago, you signed a few years ago as a board, a 20-year agreement with SST, and then the legislation changed to limit those agreements with your regional technology centers to only 4-year agreements. So our region is kind of ahead of the pack and rolling out a new agreement. We got some feedback from Jeff Beard, who works at the Department of Education, and we shared some legal counsel opinions to create a final document, and the SST member board has approved it, and so we are bringing it to you to be authorized for signature. I think we shared both the final document as well as a redlined version in case there were any questions. But again, essentially, no changes to the formula. Essentially, it protects the current structures at SST and make sure that it will continue. And it brought us into compliance with the language around the calendar that we're required to uphold as well.
Great. Thank you. Did anybody have any questions on it? And if not, could I get a motion to authorize me to sign?
I'll make a motion to authorize Winnacunnet School Board Chair to sign the proposed 4-year regional agreement for Career and Technology Education Center Agreement Region 18 with the Seacoast School of Technology.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you for the work on that also.
Marilyn's done an amazing job.
Thank you.
The SST people, yes,
Mhm.
she has.
I love it. Our next one is the award of bid for the roof project. We've seen that.
Yes,
Bids.
We just have to change that.
So Matt included the memo. You'll note that we had 2 bids for the translucent panels, the skylights essentially, from Granite State Glass and Suburban Glass and Mirror, and we had 3 bids for that portion of the roofing itself. And so we are recommending award of bid to Granite State Glass in the amount of $889,300 for the translucent panels, and A&M Roofing in the amount of $97,500 for the roof work in phase 1. And just as a reminder, this is a warrant article, so we are kind of pre-awarding the bid because there will be, companies need to be able to plan in the event that the warrant article passes, so that they are poised to start that work right away when school ends, so it can be completed before the school year needs to start.
Okay.
So this is customary, and they know that it's not a guarantee until the warrant article is
Passes.
approved, right?
Okay.
Unless and until.
Okay.
So in the motion, does it have to say pending warrant article
It
approval? It doesn't, okay.
Anybody like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to award the bid to Granite State Glass for $889,300 for the translucent panels and A&M Roofing for $97,500 for the roof work to complete phase 1 of the roof replacement project.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further? All those in favor? Thank you. And then could I get a motion then to adjust the roof warrant article to that figure?
Yeah, you'll notice that figure is $975,000. That's a little bit different than that total if you just add those other 2 numbers. And the budget committee has already approved the 975. A little bit of what's in that bid is some pre-design that would be completed during and paid for during this school year, so out of operating funds, and the 975 would only be approved if approved by voters through the warrant.
Perfect. Anybody would do that motion?
I'll make a motion to adjust the roof warrant article to $975,000. Jump in, people.
Thank
Or I'm
you.
gonna keep jumping.
Just keep jumping. Sounds good.
I'll second that.
Perfect.
Sorry, I just had to log back in.
Yeah.
I'm having technical challenges today.
I love it. All those in favor?
I've already logged out twice.
Thank you.
Oh, so it's not just me.
no, it's
Okay.
Perfect. All right, next on, we have the approval for the use of Winnacunnet name and image.
Yes, so you will see Matt included the draft that the company has shared with us, but essentially we've worked with Armstrong World Industries, it's a ceiling tile system manufacturer, and they gave us free of charge new energy efficient ceiling tiles in 14 of our classrooms as a sort of test case for how much this energy savings might be. So they want to be able to use the data that they collected as a part of that test case in their publications to try to sell their product. So we would support that. It's a limited
Has this
scope.
been done before?
As far as using the name?
Okay.
It's just that there's no pictures of Winnacunnet in here or
But they will
anything.
use pictures.
Oh, they will.
Yeah, they would have a photo of the classrooms, right, in which it's been
Yeah.
installed at the ceiling grid.
But it won't have students or anything
No,
in
no,
it.
no.
Yeah.
No, they want you to pose though. Is that
Oh,
what-
I will.
Okay, good.
Sure.
Perfect.
The school board.
Yeah, just the school board, yeah.
I smell popcorn.
Did you say you smell?
I thought I did.
I love it. All right, any further discussion on it? Okay, could I get a motion then from Nicole?
Nicole's the only one allowed now.
Or is it, if anybody else is logged in, go ahead.
I'm
No,
not.
I think I got this one.
You got one? Go for it, Tamara.
Okay. A motion to allow Armstrong Industries to use the Winnacunnet name and photo in marketing information relative to heating efficiency.
Second?
Second.
Perfect, thank you. All those in favor?
I wasn't crazy.
Well, somebody better bring it down then if everybody's, I love it.
Smell.
Then we have a donation from the American Legion.
So, so any donation, $500 or greater, needs to have school board approval. So this one I already mentioned, but it's from the American Legion, who donated 8 Thanksgiving baskets valued about $500.
That's amazing, thank you. Can I get a motion to accept it? Which I think is a riot, because I don't believe we've ever not accepted a gift.
Right.
I already,
Just-
trust me.
We
I know, right, yeah. So can I just
Thanksgiving's
get
over.
can I get a motion to accept it?
Motion to accept the gift of $500 from the American Legion Post 35 for the annual Thanksgiving basket distribution.
Thank you. A second?
A second?
Thank you, Tamara. All those in favor? And thank you very much to the American Legion.
The second one is from Jeremiah Pasternak, and he's done this before in previous years, but he donated 10 pairs of sneakers valued at about $1,000 to be distributed to students in need.
Great. Thank you very much. Can I get a motion to accept?
I got this one.
Got it. Go for it.
Motion to accept 10 pair of sneakers valued at a total of $1,000 from Jeremiah Pasternak to be distributed to students in need.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Great. Unanimous. Thank you.
And then the last motion tonight is from the Hampton Rotary, who donated $1,000 to support the Winnacunnet Band and Chorus programs.
Perfect. Motion?
I'll move to accept $1,000 donation from the Hampton Rotary to support the Winnacunnet Band and Chorus.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. All those in favor? Perfect. Thank you.
And then while we're on donations, we'll be bringing forward, we've got 2 projects coming forward that are gonna be over $5,000 that will require public hearing.
Okay.
One is from the Winnacunnet Friends of Winnacunnet Foundation. They're gonna be installing a sign out on Warrior Way, Winnacunnet Road.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other donation is gonna be coming from the Alumni Association to install or build a pavilion out behind the dining hall.
Oh,
Okay,
where the,
so
where the,
Where
where
the
the
tent's
tent's been, they wanna build a
Oh, in
permanent.
the front by the, like right where you come in.
Come in,
Oh,
yes.
that's awesome.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, that'd
I think
be a
that's gonna
lot
be
nicer.
awesome.
Yeah.
Was that the one that was mentioned in the facilities report?
Yes.
That's
I was
awesome.
wondering where that funding would be.
Yeah. I love that. That's great. So then, next we'll do personnel, but in non-public. So our future meetings are the Winnacunnet BudCom public hearing, which is Wednesday, January 10th. Winnacunnet School Board meeting is Wednesday, January 17th. The SAU 21 Operations Committee meeting is Thursday, January 18th. And the SAU 21 Policy Committee meeting is Monday, January 22nd. Could I have a roll call, or, motion to get into non-public?
Motion for roll call to enter non-public session under RSA 91-A:3 2A at 7:25 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Have a great one.
Have a nice night.
Second
You
that
too.
if nobody else has.
Okay, and Trish will second it, so then we need a roll call.
Who did first?
Nicole.
Nicole. And Tricia, yeah.
Okay, Desiree Potter, Leslie LaFont,
Yes.
Nicole Seco,
Yes.
Tamara Lay,
Yes.
Tricia O'Keefe.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. And we are in non-public, and yes, I do smell the popcorn too. Yeah, I do smell the popcorn